Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today's May 7th, 2021, and this is episode 291. The Swamp Thing is what we're looking at today. This is a DC comic, 3 of 10, and it is a recommend. It comes in at $3.99, by the way. I've been enjoying this. The art in it is just fantastic. The writing's pretty good too. Let's take a quick look at the cover. We've actually got three characters on here. One is Ivy. One is the Queen of something. They really didn't mention who it is. If it's Queen Ivy, I'm not quite sure, but they do resemble each other quite a bit. And then we have Swamp Thing in the background, and he's not happy. Now, we don't get this image depiction in here, but all three are in the story. So let's take a look at who worked on it. I have to go in a little bit. Okay, the writer of this is Ram V. The artist is Mike Perkins. The colorist is Mike Spicer. And the letterer is, looks like Adityo Bidikar, if I got that right. And Mike Perkins and Mike Spicer worked on this cover. Now, some people didn't like the cover because they thought it was too much green. Things didn't really pop out that much. And I can see why they're saying that. In fact, when you look at this digitally, you might not even see Swamp Thing very well in there because he is really pushed to the back. But it might come out okay in this video here. Just a lot of green, just overwhelmingly so. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, Levi Kamel's been having a little bit of trouble. He's not sleeping well. He's having these dreams, and he is becoming Swamp Thing in Central Park, and also out in the desert. He had a fight with this desert creature that ended up growing this huge tree in the middle of the desert. It was pretty spectacular, and that was the end of issue 2. Now, his friend Jennifer is a doctor as well. She's got a doctor and scientist. She's got him at the CAT scan here, and they're going to run to see if his brain's okay. He's just having a lot of issues. And Jennifer is unaware of all that has been going on with him. So when she starts taking a look at what his brain's doing, it looks all pretty normal as she's going through the brain scan. And suddenly, we get towards the end, and she starts seeing the cortex of the brain start to grow vines out of it. She says there's something wrong. He seems fine, but she has to go check on him. And she goes inside and she sees Levi just covered with all this growth. As she closes in, the spores of the flowers or the growth release, and they hit Jennifer in the face and body, and she starts sprouting her own Flora as well, as you can see there. Now, this is weird because Levi's kind of out of it. When he's into his plant mode, he is not really knowing where he is, but he senses Jennifer. He senses that she's close by, and we actually get these same kind of flowers right there. Now, this didn't have a lot of action in it, but there's a lot of introduction of new characters and setup for the next, I guess, mini story arc within this 10-issue run. And as Swamp Thing looks for Jennifer, he comes across Ivy, this very seductive looking woman here. Now, we don't know if it's poison ivy or not at this point. She says there's no poison. She's not poison. She's just ivy. And she agrees to help him find her friend. So in the meantime, we're introduced to the Wonderwoos. And this particular one looks almost like a baboon with tusks. Pretty cool looking. He's got trees growing from the back, and it's gigantic. And Jennifer is wandering around. She doesn't have all the flowers and Flora on her now, but she's stumbling about, and we see this other person peeking out from a tree. As the vines attack Jennifer, he comes out and starts snapping them and pushing them back and helping her. He says, "Come on, let's get out of here." So she runs with him, even though he's definitely not a human or in human form right now. So he's kind of partially human or partially formed, I should say. And he introduces himself as Woodroo. So I don't know if that's supposed to be Woodrow or something else. In the meantime, Ivy takes the Swamp Thing to her queen, who looks very much like Ivy. And she's very not very welcoming to Swamp Thing, and he goes up to her and just say, "Look, I need to find Jennifer," and the queen just freaks out, says, "How dare you touch me?" and thrusts him back by these vines, and then basically feeds him to one of these giant Venus flytraps. It's pretty cool the way they drew that. Let's go back to that. When you first see this, she's on her throne here, and you got all these Venus flytraps in there as Ivy comes walking up. Actually, that's the queen. It's just a different page there. Sorry about that. So Ivy calls out and says, "You're supposed to protect not just me, but my friends." And so, and the queen's not having any of it. She's got her own vines going on and attacking Ivy now. But Swamp Thing is able to bust out of the Venus flytrap and free his friend Ivy. And at the same time, suddenly this other person comes up out of nowhere as this is all going on. It looks like he's almost doing some kind of combustion there. And he's introduced to Alec Holland, who I believe is the original Swamp Thing. So, and he says, "I'm going to help you out. We're going to find Jennifer." So they just kind of leave the two Ivies behind. Queen and Ivy wander off on their own as the spores continue to release, and as Jennifer stays put with Woodroo. See the Wonderwo wandering around. And this is where we end right here in this beautiful scene. So the art is just spectacular in here. It's a little dark at times, but overall it is just beautiful. You can tell it's not just the digital fill-in type thing. It looks like they've actually gone to a lot of shading and all kinds of things on this. Maybe even multimedia a little bit. But it is a sight to behold, where this one looks more digital to me. Okay, so yes, it is a recommend. Continue on. Not too much action in this one, so to speak. Just pretty much a setup. We've got all these new characters introduced. In the last two issues, it was mostly that mysterious desert creature that was made of oil and other minerals that was attacking some of the locals in New Mexico. But this one's totally different, so continues on the 10-issue run. All right, let's take a quick look at what else is in here besides the ads we've already passed by. We have Legends of the Dark Knight #1 coming out. That's Derek Robertson doing the writing on that. That'll be this month. Uncover the darkest corners of Gotham alongside its legendary protector. And then we have our Festival of Heroes, and this is kind of a roster of who's going to be in it. If you recall, Festivals of Heroes is all Asian characters. So most of these are Japanese or Chinese, and I think there's one Vietnamese and one Taiwanese in here as well. Cheshire Cat, I'm not sure what that's going to be, but it's a first appearance. Also, we have a number of other first appearances here. I don't know what that means exactly because we've seen these characters before. I think it's the first time they were done as an Asian, perhaps. So that's what you have to look forward to that. That's coming out in May as well. Superman and Lois, just an ad for the C&W. I don't know if there's any new shows out on that one. And Black Lightning, also on the C&W. Power Up. It looks like we have a trinity of Black Lightning characters here. All right, so this is getting the good excavating seal of approval, given out only by Indie Comics Jones. And there you go. Thanks for stopping by and listening to this review of the Swamp Thing number 3, numéro 3, as we say in French. And we'll hope to see you again. I got a few more to do, a few more reviews to do. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't. Please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. This is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.